NABN, New Africa Broadcasting Network.
Channels Book Club and Channels TV is watched all over the world. Those who genuinely follow the Nigerian scene, they know that this is the go-to station. This station is a multiple award-winning 24-hour news and media television channel based in the wonderful city of Lagos. The genius behind the project is the gentleman who is now about to address you. He is widely recognized in Nigeria as a transformative industry pioneer with a 37-year-long career in news, television broadcasting. Ladies and gentlemen of the Nigerian American Business Forum, it gives me the greatest pleasure to introduce and to give you the excellence, the inspiration, the high performance, Mr. John Momoh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of NABF, Nigerian American Business Forum. I'm really very delighted to be here. I've been here for a couple of hours now. I flew in this morning. And before I give my speech, which I've had to pre-say and reduce, I just want to let you know some of the takeaways that I already have. One of which is the redefinition of the word keynote speaker. Because in the Nigerian American Business Forum, it comes last. So that's one takeaway. The second takeaway that I have is my newfound word. It's a medical word. Peptides. I was particularly interested in the word peptides and what it does because of the fact that it spoke about growing your hair. And then it goes on to talk about libido. So I thought I was in the right place. And you know, when you're the last to speak, you have the opportunity to listen to others, and then you hear what they have to say, and if they say things that are in your speech, then you have the opportunity of editing and removing some of those numbers. So I'm not going to bore you with numbers today. So my speech is going to be 1 hour long. That's a joke. But I want to thank Dr. Gusel for your kind words as well. And I'd like to thank the Nigerian American Business Forum for inviting me to give a keynote at this year's NABF conference. I'm indeed very honored, really honored, I must say. And would like to thank Mr. Ken Shobola, the president of the forum, for his relentless drive and effort to make sure that I'm here today in Florida to speak at this event. Somebody said earlier on that, and that was a distinguished senator, that when you get a call from Ken, you've got to answer, you can't say no. In my own case, I did not only get a call from Ken, he paid me a visit. And when he left, I was thinking, why would he want me to come and speak at this event? It turns out that I now know, after listening to the speech on libido, that he discovered that I was beginning to regrow my hair because I had a visitation from Dr. Ikuda Isi. And there were 4 strands that were growing, and he wanted me to remain in his cloud. So here I am today. Ken, thank you very much. As they say in Nigeria, may your shadow never grow less. Thank you, Amelia.
Yes.
And thank you to every one of you. And many thanks also to the board members who have all continued to uphold their ideals along with you of this great association by fostering the business relationship between Nigeria and the United States. America's famed economic prosperity makes it compelling for Nigeria and all economic interest groups to maintain and sustain such a relationship. But allow me to set a backdrop for my speech by giving you a little insight into my entrepreneurial journey with the story of Channels Television, Africa's most awarded broadcast station. It is an interesting story, an amazing story of professionalism and enterprise fused into one to result into what is today the most trusted and most successful news organization in Nigeria and indeed Africa. The channel seed was planted in July of 1995 after I had done 10 years on television, public service, and 5 years on radio. And it was an idea that wasn't really given any chance. It's a station that was launched in response to the yearnings of Nigerians for an alternative to the then government-controlled media. A platform created to promote balanced reporting, objectivity, fairness, and the right of citizens to freedom of speech. Some of us may remember that this was a time when the Nigerian military government controlled what people had access to. A time when it wasn't popular to have one's opinion aired without sometimes grave implications and consequences. But determined to play the role of the fourth estate of the realm, we set out to democratize access to information for Nigerians, especially on issues that affect their lives. It was indeed a journey that proved to be a long and arduous one. We began our TV station with 2 cameras and what is known as a 100 watts broadcast transmitter, the size of a briefcase. And if you compare that to the competitors who were then there, the NTAs and the state stations, those of you who may know one thing about the industry would know very well that our signals wouldn't have gone beyond this block. So our signals couldn't travel far. They were within a very small radius. So for a company that was determined to carve a niche for itself, in the news segment of the industry, we faced severe rejection from advertisers who did not believe in our business model. They didn't believe that it was sustainable. And so consequently, we ran our operations for over 2 years without a sponsor, no advertising. And it was a very tough one. As I remember, when we had the first visits to the advertising agencies, one of the chief executives who listened to us listened in supposed rapt attention for my presentation. And I was with my wife who was helping me do the presentation. And he said to both of us that we should get out. Now, who do we think we are? And where do we think we are? Now, what news are you selling? But we weren't done. It was only a dogged determination and focus on our vision that kept us going. And we kept doing what we know how to do best, maintaining the utmost levels of professionalism and ensuring that we maintained balance in our reportage, telling both sides of the stories, regardless of the consequences. And this endeared our station to the hearts of the viewers and built trust for our brand. So much so that in a little over 5 years, we received our first award for the best television station in Nigeria. And also soon, Channels TV became the barometer for truth for Nigerians both home and abroad. Abroad because we realized early down the line that becoming a digital business in an operative business decision is an imperative business decision that is key to competing and staying relevant. In line with this, we published our website in 2006. At that time, web technologies were at best in their infancy in Africa. But we had seen ahead that the digital space would define our industry, and so I decided as a company to always stay on the cutting side of technology. We also realized early that successful digital transformation comes not from implementing new technologies, but from transforming the organization to take advantage of the possibilities and focus on content. This instructed the online-first paradigm that resonates today across all levels of leadership throughout our organization. It served as an impetus for us to start streaming our content live on the internet 24/7 as we made the streams of our production available to our viewers live via Android, iOS, and BlackBerry devices, as well as on desktop computers. And doing this changed the game for us, as interaction with our viewers in real time now became very possible. Then came YouTube, which took our digital experience to a different level. And today, Channels Television is available worldwide, online, on satellite, on terrestrial TV, and on IPTV. Looking back, the journey has been long but rewarding. We have received the best television station of the year a record 12 out of 17 times from the Nigerian Media Merit Award Trust, a body that recognizes excellence in the media landscape. We've been described by the Financial Times of London as a network built on trust, and also recognized as the most reliable and trusted source of information in Nigeria by a BBC Reuters poll. Why am I telling you this story? Because it signifies hope to the average Nigerian, particularly those of you who are thinking of coming back home to invest in your country. Nigeria isn't all bad news. In the midst of the chaos and confusion of Nigeria, opportunities abound. And we saw them in the presentation given by the chairman of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. This conference comes at a time, therefore, when a number of things are crucial to us as Nigerians. First, we're in an election year when we have to decide who will lead us for another 4-year term. The presidential elections are just about 3 weeks away. God willing, all will go well. Secondly, we are at a time when technological innovation is asking us to either shape in or shape out. at a time when we're supposed to catch up with current trends or we get left behind. In other words, we're at a time when we need to not only to think about our socio-economic and political future and talk about it, but at a time when we have to do something about it. And do something we must, because of the worsening situation of the continent. You've heard it, and you've heard all the statistics. Global inequality is worsening rapidly. And the people are poorer today, on an average, than they were 4 decades ago. And so to stem this tide, African countries must improve their industrial, technological, and higher education policies if the income gaps between the developed world and the developing countries in Africa are to be reduced. And economists say Africa's gross domestic product, and Andrew alluded to that fact, will need to increase at the adjusted rate of 6% per year. And the only way for the continent to achieve the economic growth for it is to look for its entrepreneurs, support them, so that they can provide the increased prosperity desired by its citizens. One major economic problem in Africa is that the economies are not production-driven. Instead, there's an emphasis on distribution and consumption, making the continent a dumping ground for goods from other continents. This, as you all know, has grave implications for foreign exchange earnings and local currencies. We've spoken so much and heard so much about entrepreneurs. We've seen some of them who are doing great works. Even though Abimbola didn't put me in that slide, I will forgive him. A successful entrepreneurship culture could change this lopsided arrangement that we have through innovations. Innovation, innovation, innovation that could gain widespread appeal overseas, become a major foreign exchange earner for the country, and provide a pathway to increased foreign reserves and a possible growth in GDP. Entrepreneurship is the key to the future success of Africa. But sadly, despite claims that it's being championed in Africa, the level of entrepreneurial activity vis-a-vis the population is so very low. So there's need to encourage entrepreneurs throughout the continent, beginning with the improvement in the regulatory environment. Regulations need not to be stifling, so as not to discourage innovations, creativity, and the free flow of goods and services. For instance, we've just been given a network radio license in Nigeria. I've been applying since I got my television license in 1995, actually 1993, and I was never ever given. Whereas some of the staff under me have gotten their own licenses. But I got the license. I was being asked to come and pay $1.4 million for the license. In the UK, where I also operate, the license fee is £1,000 per annum. And this is apart from the network radio license that we pay for, $1.4 million. But in spite of all these shortcomings, the future is bright for Africa. It's a continent, as has been said, with so much untapped potentials. And the numbers are compelling. We've seen them. Take our country, for instance. By 2050, we'll be the fourth largest country in the world. This is huge. We'll overtake the United States in population, an unmistakable force to reckon with. And if you want to see some of the opportunities that abound in my own sector, for instance, A rising middle class will increase the target market for digital television services and pay TV, just as growing urbanization will further accelerate the trend. Digital TV research forecasts that the number of pay TV subscribers will more than double in the next 5 years, with an estimated pay TV penetration of 16% of households by 2022. There are currently about 156 million households in sub-Saharan Africa, 30% of them in Nigeria. And the figure is expected to grow to 180 million by 2020, that's next year. And to give you the idea of the size of this growth, an additional 24 million households is equivalent to the entire market size of Italy today. That's the size of the market that we have in Nigeria. So I enjoin you to come home and partner with us in laying the foundations that will set the giant of Africa on our feet. The benefits are humongous. With such a partnership and investment, we may begin to see Africa's first self-leading plants, solar-powered cars, smart hospitals, or maybe the cure for some of the diseases that have plagued the world come out from empowered Nigerian minds. But let's pause a moment and interrogate our present situation so as to be able to make appropriate projections into the times ahead. Think about this for a moment. If you are currently in a niche business, or you are thinking of a niche you want to go into, ask yourself the question: will the business still be relevant in the future? If the answer is yes, then your next question is, how can you make that happen sooner? But there's one more question you need to ask. And this is perhaps the most crucial. Does it work with your phone? If it doesn't, then forget it. Because any idea designed for success in the 20th century is doomed to failure in the 21st century. I had said that I had praised my speech. So let me conclude by talking about the role of the media, since I'm from that sector, in growing entrepreneurs in Africa. Many constitutions favor freedom of speech or the right of expression of opinion, and the code books that we work with often also ask us, the media, to be dutiful in the business of informing, educating, and entertaining, as a step towards serving the people's right to know. Knowing provides the basis for awareness, intelligence, and a conscious populace. A cognizant population is a trigger of growth and development. And what this means is that the media is a catalyst for the entrepreneur through the provision of knowledge. The media is a veritable member of a civil society and has the obligation to produce fact-based information. It serves as mirror for the society to self-reflect. An improper performance of this role leads to poor reflection, poor diagnosis of self, and a problematic future. Nevertheless, a qualitative performance of this role produces a good reflective process and a meaningful projection into the future of the entrepreneur. Our gaze into the future can, after all, be seen from different perspectives. One is that the media could provide the foundation upon which good governance can be built. The second is to venture into the future based on our belief, or lack of it, in our efforts at improvements. And the third is to envisage a continuous expansion of technologies of communication far beyond the domains of the industrial West to other territories, including Africa, and for a good capital to be made out of them. And the fourth is to believe that Africa's future, social, economic, and political sectors will improve and consequently rub off on the media. Finally, and the fifth is that the philosophical faith in the inevitability of the change becomes possible. And the change to anticipate is a positive one, which is however reliant on the sustenance of media and for governments to be more efficient. These perspectives may not be exhaustive, but they could be representative enough to enable a broad view of the subject matter of media and entrepreneurship to grow. The point is that the future is a place ahead of us. We do not just have to arrive at this place only for the sake of it. We have to arrive well in addition. The option of arriving well emanates from our inefficient past, which, reflectively speaking, can be made better through the entrepreneur working in league with the media. As Africans, our gaze into the future is a legitimate one, given past and present challenges. The role of the media in the determination of its entrepreneurial future is enormous, in the sense of the need to call governments and institutions to order. Millions are now empowered by the smartphone to know things by the minute. There is an information deluge. The phones are sleepless. The networks place no limit on the quantity of information that can be accessed. The entrepreneur can as well take advantage of this growth and get the maximum exposure to help decision making for efficiency. The professor spoke some time ago in a presentation about Nehemiah, the wall that was being built by Nehemiah, and she likened it to the fact that Nigeria is in crisis and we should build the wall, not the Trump wall. But I join my voice with her and say, let us rise. Let us arise and build Nigeria together. Let us plant a seed. And in ending I say, and I quote Albert Einstein, the physicist, that let us plant a seed every day, because you never know which one will grow. They just might all grow. Thank you very much.
NABNTV, inspiring a new generation.